Hey, good morning, everybody. Just wanted to stop by with a uh, few more moments of wisdom. I've had a lot of comments when it comes to children and how they may perceive us as parents, or just difficulties that we're having with our children, whether they be small or even our grown children, right? So, as a mother, parent, someone that has to be both parents, and as a daughter myself, um, now mind you, I'm no professional, or I don't claim to be something that I'm not. If you haven't noticed already, I keep it real and transparent. And this morning, I'm going to be very transparent on this subject. And I think there's a lot of people, uh, well, I know a few in particular, that will um, really gain something from this particular video. If you haven't looked at the video of what transpired in my past experiences, or that has fueled uh, the reason for this page, and the reason why I reach out to everyone. I encourage you to watch the initial video. It is lengthy, because if you haven't noticed, I like to talk. um, but with, in light of my past experiences, and as a mother, when you go through something, your first thought is, how your children are going to turn out, especially if they were involved or if they seen things occur. I think sometimes as parents, or mother, or as a mother, um, my thing was I wanted to not be the stereotypical mother or stereotypical family. I wanted, I so much wanted to give my children what I didn't have, which was the two parent household, um, the uh, stability that I thought that I was reaching, but I didn't. And I ended up being a stereotype after all was said and done. And sometimes the best thing for our children is to separate them from a particular situation rather than living through it. Uh, the hindsight, right? But if I knew now what I knew then, be in a totally different situation. Um, but really, just look, just the video's basically just saying, have grace for yourself. No, I know personally that it's difficult to forgive yourself, but forgive yourself. Um, our children do not come with an instruction manual. Our children do not come with, um, all the details that we need to, as parents, to be able to do what we need to do for them. We just either use, hopefully, basic common sense, or we just sometimes we use what we've been taught, and sometimes that's not necessarily good either. Or we try so hard to do or be what we didn't receive, or try not to uh, pass on what we've learned. So for a long time, and like I said, being transparent, because of all that had happened to me, uh, not realizing that your kids can really pick up on those things. And so after all was said and done, I felt like I had failed my children. I still am struggling with the forgiveness of myself, which I pray about that uh, constantly. Uh, Prayer is very important to me. Being grounded in the Word is very important to me. Um, but I did not lose sight of the fact that God forgave me. At first, I wanted to overcompensate with my children, right? So what I did is I said, oh gosh, we've been through, all this turmoil. We've been through all this stuff. And so let me overly love them. Let me overly, uh, you know, pamper them and give them gifts and let me, do all this, that, and the other. And what I noticed is that they were um, always expecting that. And they always were looking for something, right? And uh, then I noticed that our relationship had changed to where they thought that um, it was okay to say certain stuff, get a little out of pocket, get a little disrespectful. Um, and it was hurtful. And I prayed about it. And I said, you know what? No, mm-mm. Um, I'm not, I can't let them take me there. One, they're young, they're still impressionable. Um, so I felt like I can't let these kids make me feel less than when I'm trying to do my very best, right? And I said, God forgave me, so I have to find a different approach to this parenting. And so, I held myself accountable. Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I stayed too long. Yes, this happened. But at the same time, I'm here. God brought me back for a reason. And it's to mold these impressionable children to be the very best they can be and not repeat these these horrible cycles, right? We as parents, we have to quit overcompensating for what we have done in the past, in our past mistakes, in our past hurts. We have to not only break those generational cycles and curses, but we have to make sure that we don't allow ourselves to be overtaken and be neglected because we're trying to do so. We can't allow our kids to just run over us, for lack of a better term, but essentially that's what it is, because we feel that we're lacking, or we feel that uh, we're not adequate enough. So yeah, I had to learn the hard way. A few tears. Um, I had a couple of beat up sessions, and I noticed that a lot of the parents that reached out and really bared their souls because they didn't have to, um, but a lot of them are, uh, comments about their older children, right? And me as a daughter, um, I can see both sides because I, you know, I've tried to have those difficult conversations and they fell on deaf ears. Or or the parent gets defensive, right? But the comments that I'm getting are from parents that are trying so desperately to reach their children and really try to have those difficult conversations and are open to them. And I just want to say to you as someone that, uh, like I said, I'm no expert, but I know hurt and I know pain and I know that how painful it can be for you to be looked at in a different light just because you made a mistake, by your children or um, just overall. So have grace for yourself. Learn to forgive yourself. Um, and try to let it go. Uh, and it's not easy. It's not easy. You have to do a lot of bearing. You got to do a lot of stripping away. You have to sometimes take evaluation on yourself, take inventory. Um, you have to really look at yourself. You're going to have bad days. Everybody has bad days. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay uh, to not be okay. Um, but have that grace for yourself. Uh, but really search for the forgiveness within yourself. Excuse me. It's not easy being a parent. It really isn't. But what I've learned too is, what I should say, what works for me is staying grounded in the Word. And not only have I done that, I have invited and welcomed my children and encouraged them to also have a relationship with God. Because I say it all the time, y'all can hop in the car and go to church, but what sustains you for the rest of the week? Are you, what are you doing between now, one Sunday and the next? So you have to, you know, what works for me is just inviting them to have a relationship with God. And that has really changed the whole trajectory of our relationship. It has opened up dialogue and conversations that need to be had, questions, um, transparency. And I don't care how old your child is, they could be 4. And you don't baby talk them. If you have real conversations, ask them about their feelings. Ask them uh, what you can do to make sure that their feelings are validated. Uh, just make sure that you're there to comfort them and that you're there to support them. Because at the end of the day, I want my children to say, hey, we've been through hell. But my mother turned it around and was there for us no matter what. Even though she was there for us in that moment, she's been there every step of the way. So what I say is today is just really have grace for yourself. I don't care how many videos I make, I always say have grace for yourself. Try to forgive yourself. Forgiving other people, for me, is super easy. Because you could do something to me and I could forgive you in that exact moment. Now, will I deal with you? Probably not, because that trust is gone, but I will. And I will be nice to you and be friendly. Not too friendly, but I'm gonna be nice to you, cordial, I should say. But I will forgive you. It's so easy to forgive others, but sometimes we're our worst critics and we're so unforgiving of ourselves. So forgive yourself. Sometimes you have to find that higher power and you have to sometimes put your children in their hands. And I did. I prayed that prayer. I said, you know what, God, I'm doing the best I can. You've forgiven me. I'm working on trying to forgive myself. I feel, I know that I've made mistakes. I feel that I've let them down, but at the same time, I give them to you. I pray over my children. I give them to you because I tell you what, control what you can and let God do the rest. You can't stress yourself out worrying. So, of course, we're going to be protective. I'm fiercely protective about mine. But what I'm saying is like some things are just out of our control. You know, it like, like the Bible says, honor your mother and thy father. But sometimes kids don't get that, and we have a generation now where kids feel like they can just, you know, talk any kind of way to their parents, and it's valid, and in most cases is not, depending on, if it's disrespectful. Now, if they come to you correct, and you're just not willing to listen to them because you're defensive, that's one thing. But if your child is being disrespectful, is using you, knowing that they can use you because you're holding unforgiveness within yourself, that's not right. That's not cool at all. So let's take some of the burden off of ourselves. Um, yes, parents make mistakes, and if you're human, you're probably still going to make them. But control what you can and pray about the rest. Put your children in God's hands. Don't let it tear you down. Don't let it tear you down. Work on the inner me. And sometimes, and I've walked through it. I've lived it. Sometimes once you heal and start loving yourself and loving the person that you haven't seen in so long, your children will gravitate towards that, and the way they treat you is going to be totally different. So I just want to come today, and I didn't mean to talk so long, but I just really was tugging at my heartstrings, and I started this page because I wanted to be obedient to God. God keeps tapping me like, hey, you need to do these videos. Not even just the videos. Really, it wasn't even videos. It was just, you need to get on the platform, and you need to talk to people, and you need to tell your testimony so that maybe it'll touch one or two people and they can heal too. Uh, it just tugs at me, because I've lived it, and we all want to, you know, some of us still are in that people pleasing stage, but with our children, and we have to be able to please ourselves and be kind to ourselves before we can even. And sometimes, once you look and love yourself, you'll start to realize what the problem is. Sometimes it starts with you. So, like I said, let's stop being hard on ourselves. Let's realize that we're human, and God made us whole. So don't let anybody think that you're just half of a person, including your kids, including your family. Stand on whatever you make yourself accountable. Stand on that. If you made past mistakes, stand on it. Be clear with yourself, but don't let them drag you through the mud, because you you deserve more than that. But what you can't control, pray about it. Let God do the rest. I hope this helped one of y'all today. Y'all have a blessed day.